So today I got a question. I was asked a question from Scoutcrafter. What type of pay I was on. So I can only tell you my experience and what I've seen and what I've heard. I'm on an hourly. I invoice as a limited company. I'm a VAT registered limited company. And I work through an agency, so I invoice my agency by the hourly rate. I take my breaks off. I take 3/4 of an hour off, or half an hour off for your break, and then whatever I started and whatever I finished, those hours, and then I book by the hour. But my rate is plus VAT because I'm a VAT registered company. So I invoice the agency, and then obviously the agency charge the boss, in this case MCL or whoever I'm doing any work for. I'm sent there by the agency and I do that. Some of the boys run on day rate, some of them are on salary. They get paid a salary, and then they get a damage bonus. So they get paid for not damaging the truck, and if there's any damage, then they get fined so many weeks, a month's worth of damage bonus, or 2 months, depending on what had happened and what was the circumstances. I don't really get involved in that. Some get paid day rate, and which varies, usually about 150, sometimes 180, 200 quid a day if you're on a really good job. Now, I live in the Midlands, and if you follow the map down the M6 to Crick, there's lots and lots of transport there. The money down there is huge next to what we get up here. It's a third again on top, obviously, but you've got to travel, and so I'm quite lucky. I've found myself, I've wormed my way into a place that's sort of 5 minutes from my house. So I don't travel much. Some of the boys travel. They'll arrive on a Monday and won't go back till a Friday or a Saturday. I used to do that with walkers down in Redditch. Used to travel to the job and then go out all week and then come back. We've got those, they're called trampers, and they stop out, so they get paid their wages plus they get night out money. Generally speaking, night out money has never really changed much. It varies from about 20 quid a night, 25 quid. Some go a little further, but night out money hasn't changed at all, much at all. And you get that tax free, so you don't pay tax on that. You pay tax on everything else you earn, income tax and stamp and all that malarkey. There's different ways of, so it is quite varied in the transport industry. There is lots of different ways of getting paid, and we're all much of a muchness. 20 or 30 quid a day difference, that's all there is. We were all basically on 10 quid an hour before COVID came. Now COVID did bring the price up. Our wages came up pretty quickly in that period of time, and it seems to have settled. We thought it might go down. I guess when you're looking for something now, you'll look for the highest price you can find, and then it'll stay for a while. I don't get an annual raise as such, or I don't put an annual raise in. When everybody else gets a raise, I get a raise, or you get what you ask for. A lot of agencies, you can sort of specify what sort of, they'll say, do you want this job? And you'll say, well, how much does it pay? And they might say, a lower amount. It might suit you because it's a nicer, better job or whatever, but then other jobs pay a little more. So there is a variation. It can move up and down. I'm lucky. Well, no, lucky's the wrong word. I've done my time, so I can ask the better end of the pay scale, because they want old gits. They want old kids to drive for them. They don't want the youngsters. They don't want the people with little experience. They struggle to find not only the work, but they also struggle to find the rate as well. But like I say, I'm coming to the end of my driving time, really. Unless things change. I plan 3 months. I know I've been banging on about it for months and months, but yeah, I'll be gone. If inflation comes and messes with my plan and things get too expensive, then obviously I might have to rethink it. There are a lot of pensioners driving trucks, let me tell you. There are a lot of pensioners, because depending on what you do, like I'm in containers. Shh, don't tell the boss, but it's like money for nothing. It is. You're not jumping up and down, you're not straining yourself. The hardest work I do is open the damn doors, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's why the oldies tend to gravitate towards the containers. But there is a lot of old boys out there. And I consider out, we're bread blockers. We want the youngsters to come in. We want to give them the work. How are they going to get the experience? But the problem is, you can't have a small mistake in a truck like this. You can't have a gentle nudge, a couple of £100, bump into a car, bend a wing. Them days of give them £100, make them go away. Give them £200, make them go away. We used to run with running money. Any problems, you just dip into your running money, you pay them and they'd go away. Those sort of things don't exist anymore. Everything is mega money and everyone makes money out your arse. So yeah, I don't do this. I have heard of firms that pay when you're standing, you don't get paid, and when you're travelling, you get paid a better rate. I've never come across it myself. But no, I'm on an hourly rate. The only difference with me, of course, being self-employed and had the firm for 20 years, I charge that. Some people say to me, well, Reggie, come to work for me, I'll give you £200 a day. But they only want to give me £200 a day. Now, I should charge them £200 plus VAT, and VAT's 20%. So it pushes it up way bigger. So the only other way I would do it was I'd say yes to that job and I would charge them 160 and then give £40 to the VAT man. But then that brings my rate down to 160 for the day, which, you know, if you do a 15-hour day, it doesn't work it. Generally here on the containers, I'm really lucky. We're getting away with it. We do. It's through a fairly quiet spell, but even flat out, you're doing, 10, 12 hours. You're generally not doing like 15 hours because of the timing of the customers, because of timing of the boxes and all that. So we're doing okay, we're doing okay. I'm where I want to be at this time of life and at this rate of pay. So hopefully I've answered your question. Yeah, but I can't speak for others. That's what I know in my head. That's all I can tell you. There might be other things doing, but if I haven't experienced it or it hasn't come across the front of my eyes, I don't know about it. So John, I hope that answers your question. I forgot to add in, some their salary is guaranteed 10 hours. That's how they do it. 8 hours is this ordinary day. Well, some firms your salary will be based on 10 hours, and anything over 10 hours you get paid. Some of them will be 13 hours. So you're paid 13 hours. Doesn't matter whatever you do, even if you do 8 hours, because the job was done handy or cancelled or sent home or you got home early or whatever. So the salary varies. It's not an 8 hours and onwards. Some of them 10 hours, or you're paid for 12 hours every day as your salary, and then paid extra if you go over, because you got to remember that we can do, or they'd like to have, shall we say, yeah. The transport firms like to have 15 hours a day out of us, because that's the legal maximum we can do. We're governed by driving hours. The maximum you can drive in a day is 9 hours, which reduces down to, which you can extend to 10 hours 3 times of the week. So if you think about it, that you drive for 10 hours, within that 10-hour period, every 4.5 hours you have to take a break, or of 3/4, or even you can work for 6 hours and then you've still got to take a break of 3/4 of an hour. So actually, short of if you're just getting in the truck and driving down the motorway for 10 hours, it takes time to get to places, to load, to unload, to wait your turn in a queue, blah, 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 blah. So actually, to do 10 hours those days, unless you're moving from one end of the country to the next, it takes a long time. I mean, generally speaking, I do 2 jobs a day, as a rule. If you're lucky, you can squeeze 3 jobs in. But as a rule, it takes me all day just to do 2 jobs. If things go well, you pop a 3rd job in, And if things go bad, you only get 1 job done in a day. And you haven't really gone far. I don't go far. I don't do distance. But anyway, that's a bit of an add-on information that I thought about afterwards. And no doubt there'll be some more add-on information when I think about it. There was something else I forgot to add in. If you're willing to work, if you're in financial straits, shall we say, if you need to earn a lot of money over the basic wage, or even over a slightly better basic wage, you can earn, if you sell your soul to the devil, if you sell your soul to the boss and you say, right, I'm a tramper, I'll come here Monday morning, I'll start 3 o'clock in Monday morning, I'll set off, go wherever you send me, and all week I'll do 15 hours a day, and then I'll run back in on a Saturday. It's possible to do. If you're in financial difficulties and you decided you're going to work a year or 2 years flat out, or you've decided that's what you want to do, you can earn some serious money on the trucks. Obviously, it's like everything else. You have to look for it. You have to ask the questions. You have to apply. It's very much. I've always worked on word of mouth. I'm not very good at filling forms. I'm not very good at doing interviews. If you wanna ask me for a reference, I'll give you the number of my previous boss, and all you have to do is ring him up and say, did he bring it back shiny side up every day? And if he did, then I've got the job, haven't I? So I'm not very modern. I'm not very good at filling forms and all that twaddle. I'm really old-fashioned, but it exists. There are firms. Usually the boss that owns the firm is the man that's on the ground or in the office doing the work. Like here now, the boss is the owner. In transport, there are those. They do exist. You can find older fashioned firms, shall we say, that hark back. But then also there are modern firms and do loads of BS on paperwork and can't be, doing a whole load of it. I won't touch them. I won't even go near them. I'll ask first, what sort of a firm is it? If it doesn't suit me. So you can do that. And you can walk. One of the things that have always suited me is it's mutual. A truck driver, if you've got your Class 1 license and you've got a few years under your belt, let's say you've got 10 years under your belt, you can literally walk out of a job every day of the week. You can walk in and out of the job. You can say, do you know what? I've had enough. Put it up where the sun don't shine. And it's what happens in the truck industry. you all of a sudden, where's that driver gone? Where was he? He's thrown his dummy out the pram and he's walked out the door. That happens in the truck industry. It's the norm, you know what I mean? Or sometimes They don't even bring the trucks home. I've heard of stories where they've dumped the truck, got out the cab, and walked home, and the end of it. I've even heard of one that hit a bridge and got out the cab and disappeared. So it's its own individual industry all on its own. It has its own thing, and as it happens, it suits me. It's, I'm not bothered one way or the other. If you keep booking me, I'll keep turning up. But at any time, any point, you say to me, Reggie, I don't want you anymore, or I don't like your face, or I've had enough of you, get out the door. It's no problem, because there's always something, there's always another job, and you can get a job in the trucks every day of the week. And part of it is, there's meant to be a shortage, but the other part of it is that's the way the industry works. That's the way the industry has always been, you know what I mean? And sometimes you can be unlucky and you have to travel. I've done that. I found nice jobs I like, but here's an example for you. Here's an example. I was working in an area and I had to travel an hour every day. And I kept saying, I've had enough of this. I've got to work closer to home. Anyway, one day the missus says, for God's sake, shut up or do it. You keep moaning, you keep saying you're going to work closer to home. And anyway, I pulled the pin and I went to look for work on my doorstep. And for the last, I guess, 10 years, I've found work and worked on my doorstep. I refuse to go. Half an hour away is too far for me. And it's a case of, if it's possible to do, you can do it. Like I do days, I'm a day man. Well, if for some reason there wasn't any day work, then I would obviously become a night man. And I'd have to do nights. Or if there wasn't any day work or night work, but there was tramping work, then obviously I'd have to be a tramper and I'd have to live in the truck all week. So it's whatever you make of it. This is a great industry to do what you want. Sometimes it can drag you down a certain path and you get yourself trapped in a job, and I've done that a few times. They've sent me somewhere years ago. Oh yeah, we'll have him tomorrow, and I've gone there. I don't like that bloody job. Find me something else. Oh yeah, but Reggie, they've asked for you, and then you end up going there, and you end up being there for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's a job you don't really want to do, and you want something else, but they keep asking for you. Oh, we'll have that driver again tomorrow. So you have to sort of be confident enough, and it takes time, but you have to be confident enough to sort of guide your own way, not do the mistake I did when I was in the TAs. Now, why did I sign for the I don't know why I signed for the regulars, but anyway, I ended up signing for the regulars. Here we are. I was in the garage, wasn't I? I was doing my apprenticeship in the garage, and my sister's boyfriend was involved with the TAs, and then I got involved in the TAs. So all week I'd be working in the garage, and all weekend I'd be army barmy, TAs, one thing or another. And then the boss said to me, look, Reggie, you've got to make a choice. You've either got to concentrate on being a mechanic in the garage, or you've got to join the army and do your army thing. Because, I'd come back, instead of resting on a weekend, I'd come back on a Monday morning, oh, I'm knackered because I've been out with the TAs and I've done this and I've done that and that sort of a thing. Or I'd want to be going home early because I want to go with it, sort of thing. So I had to make a choice. So I made the choice, and I thought I would continue being my apprenticeship in the garage. That didn't happen. I got swept up by a whirlwind. I went to, I think it was Sutton Coldfield. Was it Sutton Coldfield? There was an army selection centre where you had to go and you had to do your lifts and do your tests and all that sort of thing. And they told me where I was going, and I got swept along with it, sort of thing. I was out of control then. I went where I was told. I did what I had to do. It wasn't what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an army mechanic or in the military transport or whatever, but I didn't get there. Obviously, I didn't fill the forms in, or I wasn't educated, or they decided I was going to be cannon fodder, so I ended up being cannon fodder, didn't I? Yeah. So you have to. It's not always easy to try and guide and control your life, but you do learn to do that, don't you? You do learn to, I ain't bleeding doing that mistake again. There is a lot of different jobs. If you want to start sort of humping cages, if you want to pull pallets, you can get work on the steel. But at this age, I've seen a few of the boys take a fall and a tumble. At this time of age, personally myself, I won't be going on steel trailers. I'm not climbing all over them. I'm just too frightened of falling. The consequence of taking a nasty fall at this time of life is serious. We're in survival mode, so I don't do any of that. You see a lot of drivers on the backs of trucks loading with pallet trucks, pulling and shoving and loading. Yeah, you load a pallet and it's on wheels, but you know, I mean, even some of the loads you've got to crawl all over them, get them strapped up. Again, I avoid those sort of jobs. Walking floors was fine, but sometimes you had to climb on the top of those walking floors. If your sheet on the top got stuck or whatever, you were still taking a risk. You're not supposed to do it, but you do it, don't you? You have to do it. You have to get it done. You can't be 100 miles from your depot and tell the boss, well, my sheet's stuck, send a man out to come and do it. You have to, you have to be able to deal with everything independently. You can't have little moments. You have to be a truck driver and tramping. You have to, be a certain type of individual that can work on their own. Because, it's quite lonely. There's nobody here. It can be quite a lonely job. You have to give me my job and leave me alone, and I'll go and do it, and then I'll tell you when I've done it, and then I'll ask you for another job. I've always operated in that sort of way. But it's such a varied. You think transport is transport. It's such and then you go into you can go into fuel, hazardous loads. You can go into heavy loads. It's a massive industry. So many different paths in it. Obviously, you've got to try and guide your way that way. It doesn't come to you. You have to drive it. If I want to go north, I have to point the truck and drive north, don't I? I don't sort of sit at the junction and let the truck decide. If I want to go south, then I have to drive the truck south. Life is the same. You have to guide it. And I'm not saying I'm no expert. It hasn't always been roses. But you have to sort of guide your path in the industry. But it is a massive industry, transport. So I've got another example for you. For instance, the other day I lost the fuel cap. I went to get fuel. I was in the wrong place. I didn't have the card for that particular bunkering place, and I drove off to find fuel somewhere else, and I ended up losing the fuel cap. And so I went back, I went to the yard, says, do you want anything from Volvo? He says, why? What are you going to your Volvo for? I says, well, I'm going to go and get a fuel cap, because I lost the fuel cap. 50 quid for a fuel cap for a Volvo with a key in it. I'm stood there, I says, can I have a fuel cap for a Volvo? Do you want one with a key or without a key? Well, I lost the one with the key, so I better get one with a key. I was thinking 25 quid, maybe 30 quid. Anyway, she handed it over with the paperwork. It was 50 quid. But I mean, also in what's happened to me previously, because like I say, I can only tell you about me. S-Walkers, you had the brand new Scanias that come in, the V8 Scanias. I don't think they were just a few weeks old, and I caught one on a bridge, the side fairing thing on the bridge, and because it was the side with a step, it was the expensive side. because it had the it was £1,000. And fair play to Steve. At that time we were doing lots of hours, and he said to me what we're going to do, and we came to an agreement. And I think it was Steve's he says to me, well, all right then, Reggie, book me 10 hours for free a week until it was paid for. So I did 10 hours, and I gave him 10 hours a week, not for free, because it was paying for the panel. He'd have to pay for the panel and replace it. But you can, when you're working for the boss himself, you can come to agreements, or you can do things. And obviously if we have a write-off or a big smash, insurance has to deal with it. But for little bits and pieces, I haven't got a problem paying for my responsibilities. If I've damaged it and it's my fault, then I should pay for it. Whereas the employed people, they don't think like that. They'll say, well, it's the boss's fault, or not the boss's fault, but it'll be the boss has to pay for it. So it's you can do all sorts here in the transport industry, many and varied. Yeah, and I'm in the union of the boot. Yeah, if I don't like it, I walk. Sometimes there are a lot of people trapped in a job they don't like, and they just won't walk away. Or some people, we all know them, don't we? But I am in the union of the boot. If it suits me, I'm here for me and my missus. And if we can get along fine, that's bonus. That's really good. But if a situation happens that I'm not happy, or something I can't settle with in my head, for whatever reason, lots of 110 different reasons, I'm in the union of the boot. I walk off. Bye bye. I'm gone. I'll do something else. Obviously you've got to remember, it's the boss's train set, so it's his way or the highway, and many a time it has been the highway for me. But that's the nature of the beast. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes some things will be in my head and it just won't compute, as you might say, and the computer says no, and Reggie says no, and it's you make your excuses. You never slam a door in your face. You never slam a door in your face. I'll tell you a funny story. A very funny story. Gregory's down in Minworth. I was working for Steve at the time. Steve Supply and Drive. Anyway, he'd sent me there. Reggie, go there. And they were on a Cadbury's job, and they were on that feeding a furnace with garbage, whatever the hell it was. It was funny stuff. Anyway, and when you went in every day, you had to fill in your license details. So you filled in the form. Have you done any previous work? Blah blah blah. All the BS that comes with some of these jobs, and it was full of BS. So you have to, your start date and the end date of your license and your license number, and fill all that. And of course, to me, it was a bind. You can check me every once a week. You can check me once a month. You can ask me, but don't ask me every day to fill all on this same BS. Anyway, obviously I must have been in a mood, and he must have been in a mood. So I'm chuntering. That's what truck drivers do. We moan, don't we? So I go to the window, more bullshit, what's all this crap about? I filled it in yesterday, type of thing. And he dared to say to me, well, if you don't want to do it, I can get someone else to do it. Well, that was fine for me. And of course you get served through a little hatch, don't you? So the paperwork and the keys fired through the window. Boom! Threw them through the doors. All right then, get somebody else. See if I give it down. And it happens to be, this little hatch was right next door to the in and out door. So the keys went through the hatch, the words went through the hatch, and I was through the door. I rang the Steve that was running the agency at the time. Reggie, what'd you do that for? They try and know. That's it, I've done it, I've said it now. And by dinner time, I'd already got the job. And Steve said, I said, no, don't worry, I've sorted myself. And he goes, oh, yeah, I know you can get a job, Eddington, but stay with me. I'll find you something else to do. No, I've agreed to go here now. Yeah, we do get funny times. You do. It is, we have had a lot of fun, looking back. At the time, it's a bit stressful or aggravating. That's another sort of one of my favourite famous stories. Shall I tell you? Hayward's. So the night guy also did the paperwork for the morning. So a whole load of us would turn up. Right, can I have my job? Can I have my job? Sometimes, oh, this is your job, right? You do that, Fred. You do that, Harry. You do that, Willie. All that sort of a thing. And Reggie always just sit there. When he gives me my job, give me my job. Anyway, sometimes you could wait quite a time to wait for your job to come out, because obviously he was busy dealing with lots of drivers. And anyway, could take you an hour. Could take you an hour and a half to get out the yard. By the time you've had your paperwork, and you've got to find your truck, you've got to find your trailer, blah, blah, blah. Reggie, how comes you take so long to get out in the morning, they'd say to me. Well, usual sort of thing. Well, you've got to push yourself forward. Reggie, you've got to push yourself forward. You've got to ask, make sure you get your paperwork. Don't just stand there like a lemon. So, all right then. So this particular day, he must have had it very busy or whatever. Anyway, I'm pushing, give us a job, will you? Yeah, all right, in a minute, I'm busy. And he was, genuinely, ran off his feet, poor bloke. Can I have a job then? Yeah, in a minute, I'll give you a job in a minute. Let me sort this out. Let me sort this guy out. This guy wants a trailer. And he'd be on the phone, somebody ring him. There's a problem with this, some of that, and he's on his own there now. Can I have a job? Can I have a job? Anyway, I pushed him as far as I could push him, too far. So he gets let me just show you, do the thing. He gets my job, which would come in a form of a piece of paper like this, and he ripped me. Right, there's your job, now get out. Yeah, that sort of thing happens in transport. So I got my job, but it was ripped in half. This is my last story, right? My last story about being a driver and a HGV driver, blah, 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 and all that. And it came up the other day, almost in jest sort of thing. They wanted a general labourer. I says, I don't do labouring. If you asked me to dig a hole in the ground, I would say I've got a note, I've got a piece of paper, a note that says I don't have to do that. And they sort of look at you and they sort of, what, have you got a doctor's note saying that you don't have to dig a hole? No, I've got a class 1 license that says I don't want to dig a hole. So any job that I don't want to do, a bit strenuous or whatever, or dig a hole in the ground, or, do something like, if there's anything I don't want to do, I just say I've got a piece of paper that says I don't have to do that job, and it's called a class 1 license. Go. I've been coming up to this now. The conversation comes about the retirement. Well, Reggie, you can do this. No, Reggie, you can do that. No, thank you very much. I've got my own plan. I have been practicing. Yes, I've been practicing in front of the mirror, and I've been saying, no, thank you very much. No, thank you very much. I don't want to do what you're offering me. Get stuffed. Yeah. So you have to do it politely. You have to be nice. You have to say please and thank you. But I have been recently practicing in front of the mirror when somebody offers me something that I'm not really, it's not my sort of a thing. Oh, you're retired now, you can do this. You can retire now, you can do that. No, I've been in the mirror and I've been practicing. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your kind offer, but you can stuff your off. Well, I think Debbie uses this pink stuff. If you are a user of pink stuff, right? Let me show you something. If you're a user of pink stuff and you like it, and blah blah blah, Debbie uses it, and you live in, hold on, let me find the address for you. And you live in Australia, here we are, oops, come on, focus. And you live in Australia, well, I'm loading a whole load of them. standard pink stuff bathroom cleaner times 12, 600 of those. Oh, different size, yeah. 750. It all looks the same stuff, doesn't it? Pallets. Anyway, I'm loading that much stuff in a container to go to Australia. So if you're in pink, if you use pink stuff and you're running a bit low, don't worry. There's some on its way, because I've put it in a container, and then I'll take it to the train will take it to the boat, and the boat will bring it round to you. Yeah. It's a small world, isn't it? It's a small world. So here we are, a trailer full of pink stuff. Let's close it up and seal it up, ready for its journey to Australia. So we've put our seal on it, it's on our paperwork, and the customers put their seal on it. You can't get these off, you have to break them now to get them off. So that shows this, if this is undamaged when it arrives the other side, it shows that hasn't been tampered or messed with between getting here, leaving here, and arriving at its final destination. So if I put you here, I don't want you to be, you might have to wait a while, but I don't want you to start screaming like a girl, okay? Right, I'm going to put you there. He's on his way now. No screaming like a girl now. What was that like? Look who we have found out in the wilds, out in the Wild West. Hello, Lou. How you doing?
Oh, how are you?
We can go back how many years?
Oh, too many.
From Focus?
Yeah, too many.
How long has he been gone?
Oh, he's been gone 2011.
That's it.
So.
Right, I'm gonna cut you off. Hello, Lou. Nice to see you. This morning, something interesting. It's still early. Oh.